ओम नमः शिवाय। शिवजी सदा सहाय। ओम नमः शिवाय। गुरुजी सदा सहाय। मेरा मुझ में कुछ नहीं, जो कुछ है सो तेरा। सत्संग of Harsharan Singh TUR. I'm nothing that is mine, everything is yours. I dedicate this book from the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji to my Guruji for taking us under his Sharan, protection, and transforming our lives forever. Till we met Guruji, my family and I were just letting our life drift by without any sense of purpose or any understanding of the true will of God. Our son had lost his hearing 25 years ago. No medicines affected him, and even saints and tantrics were unable to help us. Then, as they say, when the student is ready, the master appears, and so it was. Suddenly, through a relative, Guruji entered our lives. My son gets his hearing back. The first time my family and I met Guruji, he told my wife the exact amount of fixed deposits that I had, the total number of saris she had. She was fond of good South Indian saris, the tolas of gold she had, and the selling price of my house. I had not even disclosed the last to her, fully knowing ladies and being wary of their love for diamonds. This was a small incident, but it made me thinking. Then, when I heard satsangs, the urge to meet him grew. Subsequently, I told him about my son's problem. Guruji at once blessed my son and asked me to put a drop of Badam Rogan, an Ayurvedic formulation, in his ear every day. After 10 days, my son had a severe earache. When I told Guruji about it, he just said, Kalyan, 20% cured, and hereafter he will be gradually cured. He asked me to get an audiometry test done. You can imagine my joy when my son removed the headphone and said, the noise is too loud. The through Guruji's kripa, after a period of 25 years, my son could hear again. At this point, I realized how futile my search had been. Here, at Guruji's charan, I got everything with his grace, his meher, his kripa, and finally I found my true Guru, my master, my Rab, my God. Reading the tea leaves. As we came to Guruji, we heard lots of satsangs. Devotees would narrate different incidents regarding their experiences about and with Guruji, describing how they saw him in different forms and sizes. My wife always harbored the desire to be blessed by Guruji the same way, never realizing that her wish would be fulfilled speedily. New Year's Eve was approaching and we were to go to Guruji's mandir. At the last moment, friends persuaded us to celebrate the occasion with them instead. However, Guruji wished it otherwise. My wife was preparing the usual morning cup of tea that day. She had put the tea leaves in the water when she noticed that the residue took the shape of a hooded snake. Thinking it was a coincidence, she dipped the leaves in repeatedly. Each time the leaves arranged themselves into the shape of a hooded snake. It scared her. She called me and I told her that the leaves portended that Guruji wanted us to be with him on New Year's Eve. But it was not just that. It was a blessing in disguise. Guruji cured my wife's 25-year-old backache by making her dance during the Sangat on New Year's Eve. An atheist gets a shock on the road. A few years ago, a friend and I were on our way in my vehicle to my farm. My friend was an atheist. He found the Shabad Kirtan being played over the car stereo, boring, and talks of gurus and spirituality rubbish. He said he would believe in gurus if he saw a miracle take place before his eyes. Hardly had he said this that a truck hit us from the rear. We were thrown out, were half conscious on the highway, and the car was badly damaged. You can imagine our surprise when we regained consciousness and found that neither of us was hurt. My friend was still looking dazed when he got up, and I told him, "This, my friend, is the miracle you were looking for." If we had not been speaking about Guruji, there was no way we would have survived the crash on the national highway, and that too without injury. My friend had a dramatic change. With tears in his eyes, he raised his hands and said, "Thank you, Guruji." When I told Guruji of this incident, he simply said, "No harm could come to you. I was there watching over you." Another incident comes to mind. The greatest gift God can give you is a child. This is exactly what happened in my niece's case. Despite doctors' best efforts, she had been childless for the last 7 years and there was no hope she would ever give birth. When my niece came to India, she met Guruji for the first time. Before she could tell Guruji about her desire, Guruji said, "Beti, your work will be done in October." None of us understood what he meant. It was May, and my niece returned to the United States. By Guruji's grace, she was pregnant in October, and the doctors were amazed. She was blessed with a lovely boy. All children given by Guruji are selected souls. Besides being intelligent, they are an asset to their parents. The samosa cure for the heart. Once my heartbeat had gone up to 180 beats per minute, the doctors advised immediate surgery. I thought I had better inform Guruji about it in for surgery. I met the doctor concerned in the morning and fixed up the appointment. Then in the evening, I went to my Guru's mandir. He already knew what was troubling me and sent a message through another devotee that nothing was wrong and all would be well. Guruji then distributed prasad that evening. A devotee had brought some samosas. Guruji crushed 5 samosas in his hand and told me to eat them. I was amazed that this fried stuff was poison for me. Having faith in my Guru, I humbly ate them, came back and sat down. He called me again and gave 2 more samosas. I was absolutely stuffed, but I managed to eat them. Lo and behold, my heartbeat was restored to 80 beats per minute by his grace. The next day, doctor gave me a clean chit. No surgery was required. Such is my Guru's greatness and his love for me. Leukemia turns into a glandular problem. A wonderful miracle took place when Guruji transmuted my nephew's disease. My sister's son had come on a holiday to Delhi and had been suffering from an irritating cough and fever for the last few days. This lasted for a long time, and my sister Ruby, who's a doctor, gave him some medicines, but to no avail. Ultimately, she got some tests done, and they confirmed my nephew was suffering from leukemia. Only one doctor asked my sister to wait for other results to come in. My sister was frantic with worry. She prayed to Guruji to help her child. In the meantime, I came down to Delhi, and when I met Guruji, he asked me, "Is Ruby happy?" I could not understand why he was asking this, so I replied, "Yes, Guruji, she must be happy." Later, I rang up my sister and told her about what Guruji had said. All she said was that she would accompany us to Guruji's place the next day. On the way, she told us what had happened, how she had prayed, and how the last test confirmed that my nephew just had a glandular problem and not leukemia. When we went to bow before Guruji, he said, "Ruby, I have converted your son's disease. You can imagine our surprise since no one knew of this. Such is my Guru, who takes on all our troubles, our worries. One just thinks of him and he's there. Granting vision to a vegetable vendor. A dear friend and guide of mine bought some land, but to his dismay, he found there was no water beneath the subsoil. He took the problem to Guruji, who told him to dig at a particular corner to a depth of 120 feet. He was warned that if he sold the water, the well would dry up. He went and did exactly as Guruji had told him, and clear water started flowing. The course of the subsoil underground water had been changed after 100 years. Is any other proof required to realize that Guruji is God? Guruji is there for anyone who comes to him in need with full faith, trust, and total surrender. There was a poor vegetable vendor in Sector 22, Chandigarh, who had double vision. Doctors confirmed he was suffering from a brain tumor affecting his vision. He was operated upon, but after 6 months the tumor again surfaced and he went under the knife once more. The tumor was malignant and the went into a coma for 3 months. When he regained consciousness, the doctor told him there was nothing more they could do for him, so his mother took him home. She heard about Guruji and implored him to help her son. Guruji told her to take 10 peanuts and soak them in water before sunset. Before sunrise, the kernel had to be eaten and the shell put on the ice for a few minutes. The remedy was to be taken for 10 days. The man regained his eyesight. The malignancy vanished, and till date he is hale and hearty. This is due to Guruji's Kripa. I can spend hours writing this satsang about the miracles Guruji has performed. I can sing his praises all day because for me he is God who is there for me, my family, and the Sangat, always smiling and covering us with his protective mantle. If there is any heaven on this earth, it is but here, here, here. To such a Guru, we bow down our head in thanksgiving and reverence. Anandam Shukrana Guru Maharaj.